Happy Friday. Welcome to the 17th meeting of the year. We are so thrilled that each of y'all are here. If you will please stand. Charlotte KROEKER is going to lead us on in the Invocation and Pledge.
Good morning, group. I've just been asked to do the invocation and the pledge, so if you'll put up with me, we'll get that started. So, any concerns that we should have or have that we would like to share with the group? We probably shouldn't have those concerns. So, no concerns. Well, if you'll bow your heads and join me in prayer. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you once again for the opportunity to come together here with our Rotary group to share our love for our fellow man. And for the service that we give to our neighbors. We thank you for our country and our leaders, and we ask that you watch over us and guide us in the future. Thank you. Amen. And now, right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Welcome. We're so glad to see each of you. If you have brought a guest, if you and your guest will please stand, we want to make sure that everyone is introduced properly. Thank you. Past President Richards, bring in the microphone around.
Well, looks like I'm starting it. Thank you, Happy.
Thank you, Daniel.
Most of you know me. I'm Daniel Long. I'm your Youth Protection Officer and also your Blood Drive Chairman for the district. And I'm very proud to announce today that you've got your Blood Drive representative here with me. This is Mr. Kevin Sneed. Kevin, please step into the light. This is Mr. Kevin Sneed, and this is a great time to donate blood because we definitely need it. Kevin?
Well, thank you so much for having me today. I truly appreciate it. Wanted to come just to introduce myself and just to put faces and names together. But we are having our blood drive here on Friday, November the 12th. We'll be on the north lot between Nordstrom and Macy's is where we'll be. They changed the location here recently. So invite you all to come out. Happy will have some information if she hasn't already sent it out for you, and we'll love to have you because we're heading into the holidays in which a time in which the blood supply decreases but the need remains high. So we're looking to see you all come out to help support, and we hope to start this and continue on from now and forever. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Right.
So exciting.
Thank you.
I'd like to introduce our speakers today. So we have 44 farms here today, and my good friend Janet Salazar and her husband Orlando Salazar are co-owners of 44 farms, and Jose Vargas is their North Texas sales manager, and we'll be hearing from them later. Thank you. And then Laura, if you want to stand. So I'd like to give a special thanks to Laura Garfineller. She's with Frost Bank. And Frost Bank has been a frequent sponsor of our 4th of July parade, so we're especially pleased to have her here today. Thank you.
Hi, I'm English Minner. I'm new. Just want to introduce myself. Been a Park Cities girl for a while. I grew up here, so I'm glad to be here and see what's going on. I also do interior design and feng shui, so that's a little bit about me.
Oh, fabulous. We're so glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you, Richard. I would like to reintroduce Liz Landon. She's been here before. She came to PCR Connect, and she came to the North Texas Packing Day. So Liz is a friend of mine going all the way back to college, and she's at J.P. Morgan Chase in commercial real estate.
I love it. I'm so glad that you're back. Welcome. Well, a special welcome to each of your guests. We sincerely hope that you will consider joining after the meeting. Today, our PCR Marketplace Advertiser is Cleve Clinton. The fabulous Kyle Marmillion is going to introduce him. Coming up, Mr. Kyle.
Awesome. Thank you, President Happy. All right, so our marketplace sponsor today is Cleve Clinton. Past President Cleve Clinton is a board-certified civil trial lawyer who takes great pride and honor representing families and their businesses in transition, many of whom are mavericks who dare big, plan big, and get into big trouble. Whether his service with the law firm of Gray Reed is serving as lead counsel in a family business fiduciary litigation claim or advising a family in transition, Cleve's focus is always the same: understand the client's business and goals, either in or out of the courtroom, and craft a path to the most time and cost-effective solution. When those situations require a multidisciplinary approach, Cleve assembles a team of Gray Reed lawyers and other professionals with the perfectly matched skill set, whether it be tax, employment, real estate, construction, or regulatory. He then coordinates and quarterbacks the strategic planning and tactical execution to conclude the project. Cleve takes pride in striking the perfect balance between legal strategy and the client's practical goals, all while minimizing family turbulence and conflict, if that's possible. Thank you, Cleve. We thank you for being our marketplace sponsor.
And now it's time for Happy Bucks, where you share something that you're really happy about. All of the proceeds for Happy Bucks go to honoring our monthly HP and UP public service, outstanding service providers. If you'll share your happy news, something that you're really happy about, in whatever denomination you feel comfortable with.
So my Happy Bucks Day is, because of legacy of leadership, I was able to write the best paper for my coaching leadership course on servant leadership because we had Jack Lowe from TTI Industries. Wow, I just knocked it out of the park. So thank you. Legacy.
Way to go, Valerie! I have some happy news. I'm really excited. My boyfriend's brother-in-law is coming into town on Tuesday. We're going to go to the Rolling Stones concert Tuesday night. I'm so excited.
Good for you.
Well, and I'm carrying around a $5 bill with me because, you know, here's Richard. Okay, there we go. Okay, thanks. Well, let's do Tom first.
I think I went to the last one too. Yeah. Something like that.
Okay, a couple of months ago I was going to bring a guest, but she's a big bike rider and she had a pretty poor bike, so she went to the bike store and she bought herself a bike, but the guy warned her, said, this bike is really fast, Charlotte, you need to really be careful with this bike. And so she went up to, this was a couple of months ago, and she went up to White Rock riding her bike, and it was fast. She got faster and faster. She hit a bump and threw her completely right over the handlebars, and she got hurt pretty badly because the next bike rider came upon her. They called an ambulance and they took her to the hospital, and she was in bad condition, and they told her she was in bad condition. So she prayed and said, "Please, God, please, I don't want to die. I'm young. I don't want to die." And a voice came and said, "Charlotte, is that you?" Said, "Yes." Said, "This is God, and let me look at your file. And it looks like to me that you're not going to have to worry about that. You're not going to die till you're probably, looks like 89 years old." And she went, "Oh my gosh, is that right?" Well, she thought about it after the voice disappeared. And she said, "If I'm not going to die till I'm 89, right now I'm only 27, and I'm going to get the facelift. I'm going to get the boob job. I'm going to get the tummy tuck. I'm going to get the J-Lo butt. I'm going to get the whole thing." So she did. And 3 weeks later, she got out of the hospital. She was leaving the hospital, going to the parking lot, got hit by a bus and killed.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. So when she got to heaven, she told St. Peter, "I want to see God." He said, "What?" He said, "I want to see God. I need to talk to him right away." He said, "Okay." St. Peter went and got God, brought him over there. Looked, God approached her and looked at her and said, "Oh my God, Charlotte, is that you? I didn't even recognize you."
That'll teach her. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yes,
Tom, I think you need change back. Is there a hole? This is more of a service thing. I just got this, I don't know if who is in Preston Hollow got this magazine, and inside of it is one of our Rotary family members, Daniel Dubinsky,
Wow.
with a great article about him and his family.
That's awesome. What's the publication?
Preston Hollow Parish Neighbors.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing, Stan.
Okay, do we have anybody? I mean, I've got one if we got nobody else. Anybody else?
Way to go, Dan.
Anybody? Okay, well, I got one because, you know, I love our programs when they're about service and when they're about politics and civic leaders and all that sort of thing. But it's personal for me today because 44 Farms, when you're talking steak, you know, this may be my most interesting program of the year. So this is for 44 Farms. Thank you very much.
It's what's for dinner. Thank you. Very exciting. And now Miss Joy Gold is going to come up. She's completed all of her steps to become a Blue Badge member.
All right.
Yeah, she may have just stepped out, so we'll have her.
Here's the $20 I owe for the 7 OSMU Mustangs.
Oh, go Mustangs! Woo! We'll come back to Joy. And then Van Oliver is going to give his new member speech. This is part of the red badge list, and so Van is working on his list. If he's going to come on up. Yeah. So I'm excited. We actually have two people in the room that are super tall. So we have Van and Kevin. Come on up.
You might want to use one of these because that mic has to be really close to you.
Okay.
To be able to hear.
Sorry. Well, my name is Van Oliver, and I guess first of all, I'd like to thank Stan the Man for introducing me to the Rotary. I've met a lot of interesting, really diverse, and really good people here, and I'm glad to be involved.
Can't hear you, man.
You can't hear me? Sorry. Well, also, you should know that I'm not funny like Jeff is, and others. So you'll have to bear with me. I was born in Steubenville, Ohio, and we moved to Cincinnati. Steubenville is a coal and steel mining town. We moved to Cincinnati when I was in elementary school. I was not always tall. I was not born tall. I just kept on growing when everybody else stopped. And I've learned at an early age that I was too tall to be a bank robber or to be a jockey, you know, and I couldn't fly jets, so I didn't apply to the Air Force Academy and the like. In high school, I was lucky enough to play basketball good enough to get a scholarship to play basketball at Vanderbilt. and I started my senior year, and that was a lot of fun. I also was lucky enough to get a full scholarship to law school. My parents didn't have any money. They were both orphans, and neither one of them went to college, so I was the first one to go to college and experience that. So it was interesting, and that probably has set me back as far as building relationships too, because I've had to go forward and, you know, kind of plot my own path. So after law school, I was lucky enough to get a federal clerkship for the chief judge of the Northern District of Dallas, Northern District of Texas, and I learned some interesting things, judicial humor. My judge had a emphysema, and I asked him, as you would typically want to do, "How are you doing, Judge, today?" And he said, "Well, you know, Van, I don't know if I'm doing so well. I ought to be in bed with a nurse." and I was fortunate enough to write the second opinion that allowed Southwest Airlines to fly out of Love Field. That kind of dates me, I think. But that was the final one, so that was fun. I then worked for several law firms, large law firms, and I did oil and gas. I did bank holding company restructurings and a lot of other things. I then was general counsel for a small New York Stock Exchange oil and gas company until we got tender offered and bought out by a bigger company. And then I was counsel for a family office, and we had 40 hedge funds and private equity investments, and that was really interesting to see all that. Back in high school, or back in elementary school, I joined the Boy Scouts, and I was an Eagle Scout with 38 merit badges, and the reason I had so many is because the troop had a telephone directory, and we made money, so they paid for anybody that needed the money to go to summer camp or whatever, and I went to Philmont, I went to Valley Forge for the Jamboree, so it introduced me to you know, widespread world that I didn't ever have a chance to do, because my sister was sick all the time, and we didn't have insurance, so we didn't have a car and all that kind of stuff. So the Boy Scouts were just great, you know, for that. And I guess, you know, now while I was a lawyer for various reasons, I came up with the idea, bought the land, come up with the logo, the design, and did the Uptown Car Wash. For years, the people know that it was next to the American Airlines, and then finally, my brother's a minority interest holder, said, "Well, we need to sell it because CVS wants to ground lease it from us." So we did, so it's no longer there, unfortunately. But it was all good. And as far as my family goes, I have 2 daughters. Fortunately, they're not as tall as I am. They are tall. And they're much smarter than I am. Sometimes they lack some common sense, though. One of them is in Shanghai and has been there since college. She seems to enjoy it. Another unfortunate thing is our grandchildren are located in Shanghai, and we haven't been able to see them for a while because of the COVID and the restrictions on travel and the like. My other daughter is in Denver, and she's the smartest one, and she has 4 degrees past high school, and fortunately she did not want to get a medical degree, because I don't think I could have afforded that one, you know, after law school and some other. At the end of the day, my wife, I married up. She has an unusual sense of humor. One year after I'd given her 3 presents each of the prior 3 years for Christmas, she said, "Please don't get me another present this year because I don't want to have to return it." And I said, "Fine, you know, well, why don't you tell me some ideas as to what you would like for this year?" And she thought for a moment, you know, and then I could go ahead and buy it. And she said, "Well, why don't you grow up before your children do?" Well, she never got that present. So, you know, she's been hankering, you know, for something like that. So, and I guess the last thing about me is, well, I tried to do some good work, pro bono work with litigation, formed a family group of oil and gas farmers, and they had a notoriously fraudulent oil and gas company they were dealing with, and we terminated the oil and gas lease. They were able to release the land and made a big lease bonus, and they were able to pay off mortgages and help their kids and all that. So that was good. And then I've been involved recently in estate tax litigation with a younger daughter that basically through a special trust that she hid from everybody is trying to steal 80% or 90% of the family assets. So it's been interesting. It's undue influence on an older mother and the like, and who has since passed away. My dad, as I may have told you, he was an orphan, and he still educated himself. And then he joined in World War II, joined the Army, got into counterintelligence, was working in Pentagon in DC. I don't know how he got there, but and he decided, well, I want to join the infantry. So he volunteered for Patton's Third Army. And for those of you who don't know Patton was a blitzkrieg kind of guy that went, and after Normandy, he just took everybody and just barnstormed all the way into Berlin. And for those historical buffs, I thought I'd read 2 paragraphs of a letter that he sent out to all of the people in his army. It was dated May the 9th, 1945. And I put some copies over there just for anybody that wants to see it. But he wrote this to his group, and he said, since this is a patriotic group, during the 281 days of interested and victorious combat, your penetrations have advanced further in less time than any other army in history. You have forgot your, sorry, it's smaller, I should have printed this bigger. You have fought your way through over 30 major rivers and immeasurable lesser streams. You have liberated or conquered more than 82,000 square miles of territory, including 1,500 cities and towns, and some 12,000 additional places. Prior to the termination of the active hostilities, you have captured in battle 956,000 enemies. France, Belgium, Luxembourg, Germany, Austria, and Czechoslovakia bear witness to your exploits. And then there are other paragraphs, but I thought I'd just read a second one. The termination of fighting in Europe does not remove the opportunities for other outstanding and equally difficult achievements in the days which are to come. In some ways, the immediate future will be demand of you fortitude more than the past, because without the inspiration of combat, you must maintain by your dress, your deportment, and your efficiency, not only the privilege, the prestige of the Third Army, but also the honor of the United States. I have complete confidence that you will not fail. So my dad was in reconnaissance, which meant that he had to go out and find out where the enemy was and then report back. And so that's it. And that's me.
And now we have Miss Joy Gold up here. She has completed all of the steps to get her blue badge. And I'm going to pass this to you, and if you will introduce your guest that you just brought in.
All right, I'm official now, guys. So I'm not sure if you all know, but I was always interested in Rotary because my mom was a Rotarian, and so she told me she was going to be watching today, so I just want to say hi, Mom. I also want to take a moment to welcome my wonderful guest that is here today. So her name is Sarah Walters. If you could stand, please. Sarah is a realtor at Ebby, and if you ever are interested in buying, selling your home or any property or storing any furniture, Sarah, I can vouch for her. She is a fantastic realtor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joy. Tom Swift is going to give our membership minute. Come on up, Scott. Tom. Wanted to give a shout out to Orville. He is celebrating his 95th birthday shortly.
Okay, somebody asked for this. I'm not sure who made the mistake, but here it goes. My 15-minute membership moment. When I joined 7.5 years ago, I was overwhelmed looking around, so many accomplished people in the room. I really didn't know what value I could add until an opening, and I started greeting, a task I still enjoy weekly. Over time, as I got to know more people, and they got to know me, several mentors challenged me to really get involved. They pointed out that while all-you-can-eat lasagna is a tasty perk, it is only a small part of the rewards I could enjoy as an active club member. Volunteering at Ronald McDonald House for many years fits the definition of a rewarding club service project. I believe Ronald McDonald House is a treasure. I miss it, but pandemics change things. My task was to cut up fruit salad. And all my Ronald McDonald buddies, fruit salad, right? I was the fruit salad guy. Okay. So by watching Lee Wagner's wife, Jan, I learned how to be very precise in my sectioning and trimming off the rind on our fresh oranges. But after years of practice, to my chagrin, I've come to accept that my orange sections will never look as good as hers. And if you ask her, she will not hesitate to verify this. Okay. So it was an honor to be membership chair for 2 years. We had a great team and we had a lot of fun. I made some friendships those years that I treasure today. Our club got a district award the year we enrolled it was either 27 or 28 new members. It was a few years ago. Anybody remember? Lori probably remembers. But the real payoff is now some of those members are either already on the board or have been nominated to be on next year's board. One of them, current membership chair Valerie Pellin and her team, are on pace to make our new member numbers look paltry. Way to go, Valerie. Where's Valerie? Way to go, Valerie. Okay, I told you guys this could run a while, so I'm just getting warmed up. Prior to joining the club, my wife Renee and I always went to Southern California for the July 4th holiday. Just FYI, Santa Monica Beach is usually about 74 degrees in early July. That's the air temp. The water is even cooler, of course. But I quickly came to learn the importance of the parade to our club. After participating 2 years as one of the bicycle decorating judges, a task that should really get some kind of hazard pay, anybody who's done that knows what I'm talking about, I was tapped for more responsibility, dignitary coordinator. Just follow the playbook. No worries, Karen Ferris said. Really, all you're doing is putting seats into seats. So now it's the morning of the 4th, and I'm at the staging area for the first time, and I'm amazed at how everyone knew what to do to get everyone in their place. Heck, there were even donut holes. These guys think of everything. At 7:25, a magnificent parade of 14 gleaming new Sewell vehicles arrived right on cue. What a sight. That's what I was waiting for, of course. So I went into action and began organizing and lining them all up in order. All the preparation and planning was finally coming together. I must say I was feeling pretty good about it all, although that may also have been a sugar high from the donut holes. Parade Chair Philip Bankhead, this guy right here, stand up, Philip, I want everybody to see you. Parade Chair Philip Bankhead, who I think we can all agree is the prototype of calm and steadfast Rotarian leadership, kind of strolled over in my direction. While outwardly he maintained his always cheerful demeanor and smile, I could see a look of, well, I guess it was puzzlement in his eyes. He was curious to know if I was planning to take the dignitaries on perhaps an alternative parade route ending at some other city park, as I had the cars precisely lined up in the opposite direction of our parade. And that I would describe as a not so swift. All right. Hey, if you had it, you'd work it too, right? Okay, almost done. It was no, already did that one. One last note regarding the generosity, and this is serious, the generosity of our members. Generous with your time, your leadership and experience, and time and wisdom and service and time and sometimes even dollars. How fortunate we all are to be part of this legacy. After today's four-way test, will you please tell your lunchmates how much you appreciate them and all that they do to make our club and our community a little bit better. Thank you.
Past President Barb Jeffries is going to give us an update on the nominating team's report.
Hi. This is officially the second reading of the slate of officers for a Rotary year that will start in July next year, so it'll be 2022 to 2023. If you're in the room, if you would stand, please. President Jeff McNaughton, President-elect Jeff Sheehan, Vice President Nolan Duck, Secretary Pat Martin, Treasurer Mark Kasher, Director number 1, we have 7 directors, John Brown, number 2, Jen Hammond, number 3, Kyle Marmillion, number 4, Sarah OLIAI, number 5, Valerie Palin, number 6, Marcia Seidel. Director number 7 is Mark Neese, pending approval of next week's bylaw amendment. Director at large, Paul Pyrock. Immediate past president, Happy Franklin. Sergeant at arms, Kathy Wall, and parliamentarian Lee Wagner. At this point, if we have any nominations from the floor, I'd like to accept them. Okay, with that, a round of applause for these good folks. Great. We'll be voting on this slate at our annual meeting November 19th. Thank you all.
Thank you, Past President Barb. Tomorrow is our Dentistry with a Heart all-day volunteer event. It's going to be fantastic. If you have any questions about that, if you'll stand, Fred Brown. He's the man to answer questions on that. Please see the TV monitors for our updates. Tonight we're going to the stars. Please be sure to sign up for our blood drive and just keep watching all of our emails. We want you to sign up, and then I'll make sure that in each email that comes out with something to sign up for, we'll also have a calendar so you can have that handy. Without any further ado, Sarah OLIAI is going to come introduce our speaker.
It is my pleasure today to introduce 44 Farms. 44 Farms is a family-owned enterprise by the McLaren family. They're based in Cameron, Texas, and they are the largest Black Angus genetics operation in Texas and the 3rd largest in the country. 44 Farms produces a branded beef product, 44 Steaks, available at select restaurants and online. This product is all natural, meaning there's no antibiotics or hormones used in the raising of their cattle. I know that I've personally enjoyed 44 Farms at restaurants as varied as Knife and Rodeo Goat. But as each of these restaurants is committed to providing you with a delicious meal, and that starts with the finest selection of beef. 44 Farms is owned by Bob McLaren and Janet McLaren Salazar, and we have Janet with us today. The farm has been in the family for over 100 years. Bob McLaren is the current CEO of 44 Farms. More recently, 44 Farms has become the exclusive provider of high-quality beef for Walmart stores, offering in Walmart stores known as McLaren Farms. I know that they're breathing a sigh of relief because I believe it was this weekend they completed their huge livestock auction. And speaking on behalf of 44 Farms, today will be Orlando Salazar and Jose Vargas. Orlando is a co-owner of 44 Farms. He's involved with developing relationships with farmers and ranchers in Mexico and the strategic decision-making of 44 Farms. And Jose is the North Texas sales manager. He's been with 44 Farms since 2015. And if you'll notice on your table, they've given us each a present. We got beef jerky to take home. And if you're interested in learning more, there's a flyer on the table. Please join me in welcoming 44 Farms.
Well, this is an honor and a pleasure to be with you folks tonight, this afternoon. We start out every one of our sales with God Bless America and a prayer that Janet's brother Bob faithfully shares at every one of our sales. So we feel right at home the way you started your meeting. We're blessed that you started that way. I'm going to take you back just a little bit. The farm is over 100 years old, and so it's going to take a little bit of time to kind of share the history with you. But on behalf of my wife Janet, the co-owner, along with her brother Bob, who's done a magnificent job of bringing forward 44 farms literally from scratch, to employees like Jose and all the rest of our employees at the farm, and especially our producers, all the cattle men and women all across the country that produce cattle for us to consume. We just want to say thank you for letting us tell this story, because without those men and women, we would have nothing to eat, right? I mean, our country is so blessed that we have wonderful producers out there who are basically not only feeding our country, but feeding the world. So back in 1909, the 44 brand was developed by Janet's family. And we don't know why they picked that number, but it was registered in the Milam County office, and it was used to brand the cattle. And it's also been seen on cotton bales that were harvested there on the farm with a big red 44 on them, but we don't know how or why they chose that number. We need to come up with a really good story. So if you have a good story that we can use, let us know. The fundamental factors of what happened with the starting of 44 Farms was Janet's brother, Bob, having the foresight and just the desire to get into agriculture. He had been a professional, an attorney. He'd been the president on the baseball side of operations for the Houston Astros. But he and Janet had always wanted to have put to use the family farm that had been in the family for so many years. So they chose the Black Angus road to develop their agricultural dreams. It started out with 77 heifers that were delivered on a rainy night in 2005. And I remember the night because Janet had driven down to the farm to see these cattle come in, and it was a rainy night, and she said, honey, they're here. These heifers are here, and it was so exciting. So that's where we started, basically from scratch. We brought in some bulls, started our genetics program. So what genetics is developing cattle that will be used in the reproduction of our customers' cattle. And that reproduction is meant to improve the quality of the beef that they produce. So in horses, genetics are used to make horses run faster. Well, in cattle, genetics are used for the tenderness, the marbling, the size of the ribeye. That's on the beef side. On the producer side, on the cattle side, genetics are used for things like small birth weight, so that the mama heifers or the mama cows don't have a tough time giving birth. Then quickly growing from birth to a weaning weight, and then to yearling weight. And then they're also bred for docility and for other factors. So the breeding side or the genetic side has two sides, on the beef side and on the breeding side. So all those things come into play when we talk about genetics. We had tremendous success up until a point where we had an opportunity to buy an operation in Nebraska. And that operation had been in operation for many years. It had many decades of genetics. Sadly, because this happens a lot in agriculture, the family of the farmer, the man that started that business, didn't want to continue in that genetics business. So we had the good fortune of buying those foundational males and females and bring them to 44 Farms to really kickstart our genetics operation. So we started having these wonderful sales and auctions, and we started selling more and more bulls and females all over the country. And not only that, but the semen and the embryos we started shipping all over the world. So Janet's brother had the foresight to think, well, we need to expand what we do. And part of expanding what we do, I remember you shared the news in San Antonio. Good to see you, Jeff. Good memory. That's right. So anyway, he said, we need to distinguish ourselves from other guys that are in the genetics business. So we did that by producing a beef product. And we said, well, the proof is in the pudding. If we take some of our cattle, have them processed, and see what the outcome is, we'll know whether what we're telling our customers is true, that we produce the best quality marbling, ribeye, and all the things that bring about tasty beef. The results were incredible. We had over 60% rated prime. So in our business, it's prime, choice, and select. So the outcome was tremendous. So we decided we are going to go into the beef business. And that's why Jose is here, because Jose is the guy who has really helped us expand our beef product into many areas. I'm going to let him share that part of our business because the genetics and the beef side are completely different, although obviously they have the same source. But he's going to come up and share a little bit with you about the beef side of our business, and then I'll come back and kind of wrap it up.
Thank you for having us here. So back in 2014, I think it was between 2013 and 2014, I was with a distributor called Win Meat Company, who's been around in Dallas for many years. Win Meat Company, actually, some of the family lives here in the Park Cities area. So I worked for them for many years, I believe it's 10 years. So back in 2013, 2014, a lot of restaurants were heading into a local, they wanted to support local ranches, local farmers. So it was all about that. One of my biggest customers, probably a lot of you have been there, but is the Jew Hotel. If y'all remember, it was Charlie Palmer, started off as Charlie Palmer. One of our best accounts right there. So I remember when they did a big overhaul on the hotel, Charlie Palmer left, and then new chefs came in, and I built a great relationship with them. And earlier, man was talking about relationship, and life is about relationships. And that chef had told me, you know what, Jose, we're about to probably lose our account because your beef comes from Colorado or everywhere else, so I need to find somebody local. So I got that homework to go find somebody local, and I researched a lot of people, researched a lot of farmers, and what happened is we end up inviting 44 farms to come to Win Meat to do a presentation for us. Todd Wynn, which is Bob's Wynn's son, has been around in the beef side forever. So he said he remembers growing up, 6 years old, running around in the meat plant. So I remember the first day we cut into 44 farms, I cooked the steaks, and Todd came in and tasted it, and I thought I did a pretty good job cooking it. But he left. Admittedly, that he tasted the meat, he left. So I was astounded because I was really enjoying it, and I was really enjoying the presentation Bob and BJ and Jason were giving us, and then a few minutes later, Todd walks back into the meeting. He says, "You know what? I forgot how beef's supposed to taste." He's like, "I haven't tasted a steak this good in many years." So that right there still sticks with me, and it happened how many years ago? 10 years ago or something. So that's what 44 Farmers is all about. Is making beef how our great-grandparents and making American ranching the right way. Is growing beef the right way, is doing genetics the right way, and supporting our customers. If anybody talks about 44 Farm in a room of ranchers and a room of chefs, they tell you number one is quality, and number two, which is back-to-back, is customer service. There's relationships, and that's what we do, and we love doing that as part of our, Bob always says, there's anything you do is you build relationships and keep people happy. And by delivering a great product that talks by itself, that's what we do. A lot of people said about Rodeo Goat. Rodeo Goat has been one of our best customers ever. They helped us grow. They use a lot of the chuckers that we need to be selling. So we build relationships and friendships, and we don't call anybody a customer. We call them a friend. We call them just a relationship, you know. So John Teasar, another great chef that really, John Teasar always takes credit for having 44 Farms at Knife, but the Jewel Hotel was the first one that started using it, and so for that, for having somebody to believe in the product so much, it was very awesome. And then from there, when I believed in that product, how that chef tasted it, I just started showing it. And when I started showing it, I was not selling it. I'm like, I have a product you need to try. So I love my job because it's not hard. You know, I just go out there and say, I got a steak for you to taste. So, and then, so we started, when we started, we were harvesting only 30 head every other week. And right now we're at 250 head every week. And a big scheme of time, things, we're not a big, on the beef side, somebody is killing 6,000 head a day when we're doing 250. So, but what we do is quality and service a lot of chefs, a lot of restaurants. And with that also, during last year, with everything happening, we've been doing online sales for a few years. So that's how 44 Farms actually started on the beef side, because they started harvesting all this cattle. They didn't know what to do with it. So they started selling, they opened up a website and thought that they were going to move a lot of product there, but the freezer was getting piled up, and they needed somebody to start moving it. So it was a blessing for me to meet them, and we both worked very well together, and now I'm part of the family. So for a few years, I got to tell you, our online sales is very special. We started doing, maybe the first year, I believe they ended up doing 125 during the holiday season. And right now we're doing about 800 boxes to 1,000 boxes a day for 3 days. So we do Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday ship out, and it's awesome. We've been growing a lot of corporate orders. So some law firms, some banks do it. It's just all kinds of people that do it, and it's pretty awesome. If you take a look at this book, just the quality of the product, the quality of the pictures, and I mean, we deliver product. You want to call us and do just a new package, we'll do that too. So this is very important. If any of y'all have corporate gifts going out, check us out. So, any questions? Any questions? We'll take them afterwards. Okay.
Thank you, Jose. He's done a really tremendous job marketing our product all over North Texas, and really covers many states in the Southeast. One of the things I wanted to wrap up with was our opportunity with Walmart. When Walmart realized that they needed to do a better job with their beef product, fortunately, they reached out to one of their former executives, because that's what happens a lot at Walmart, right? Their executives leave and they come back and serve as consultants. So one of those consultants came back and said, hey, there's a company called 44 Farms in Texas, and you guys need to go talk to them. So to make a really long story short, Walmart really liked what they saw in 44 Farms. They liked our story, they liked our family history, they loved our product, and they decided they needed to go in a different direction with their beef product. So we've been blessed. We've been at this Walmart business for about 1.5 years. We're, as you see in the handouts, we're in 500 stores in the Southeast, and eventually that will grow into every Walmart store in the United States. So y'all pray for us. we need your prayers. I like to tell people the minnow swallowed the whale, because this small boutique operation has now taken on the biggest retailer in the world. They know more about their customers than any other retailer, I think, that exists. So because of their expertise, they're able to help us, help them in finding the type of cuts and the kind of meats and the way they're cut and prepared better than anybody else. I'm sorry that my wife had to leave. I was going to say something about her, but I'm going to say it about her anyway, even though she's not here. And she rarely gets any recognition. She stays behind. She's kind of the financial partner in this operation, rarely gets any recognition, but without her support, love, prayers, and just confidence in what her brother does, I don't think he would be as successful as he is. So I'm really grateful for her and everything that she's done in this partnership in helping growing 44 Farms and helping it to be what it is. And just in wrapping up, I would be able to share with you the wonderful qualities of beef, the source of amino acids. It's an incredible antioxidant. It's high in protein and in minerals and in iron, and it's full of vitamins. And I could share all those qualities, but I'm going to go a little more old school than that. I'm going to go to the very, very beginning. I'm going to go to the book of Genesis. And it says that the land produced living creatures according to their kind, livestock. In particular, it's mentioned specifically in the Bible, and creatures that moved along the ground, and wild animals, each according to their kind. And God said, let us make man in our own image, in our likeness, and to rule over the fish and the birds and the livestock, over all the creatures that move along the ground. And God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, and it was the sixth day. God created man and cattle on the same day. And I like to say this. I like to say that first animal, that first bull that God made was a black Angus bull. Now, it doesn't say that specifically, but I think if you look back in the Hebrew, you can find that somewhere. So in Genesis chapter 13, it says, Abraham became very wealthy in livestock, silver, and gold. Now, this is going to blow you guys away, because some of you guys think that this grass-fed, grain-fed is something new. 1 Kings chapter 4:22. Solomon's daily provisions were 30 kor of fine flour, 60 kor of meal, 10 head of stable-fed cattle, 20 of pasture-fed cattle, 100 sheep and goats. So it took 20 head of pasture-fed cattle to come up with the same amount of good beef that 10 head of grain-fed cattle produce. So I'm just saying, because we finish in grain. So, we're all about finishing in grain. So Psalms 50:91, every animal in the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills, and the world is mine, and all that is in it. And 1 Corinthians 10:25-26 says, eat anything sold in the meat market without raising concerns of conscience, for the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. So there's nothing wrong with meat, my friends. There's nothing wrong with meat. We want you to keep eating meat. I know that we get pounded all the time about red meat and how dangerous it is for us, and our culture is trying to move us away from that. But you know what? God doesn't make mistakes, right? He knows what he's doing. He provided us cattle from the very beginning of time. So keep eating it. God bless you. Thank you for letting us be here today. And if you have any questions for Jose and I, yes, sir, please.
Your best friend was coming over for dinner. What cut of beef would you prepare?
What cut of beef would I prepare? I would prepare 3. I would prepare a filet, a ribeye, and a New York strip. And all you need is salt and pepper. That's all you need. Jose, he's a chef, so he'll know.
So what you do on the strip, right? What you do on the steak, right? Everybody's using a reverse sear now, right? I think that's the perfect way. You just put it in the oven. About 1.5 inch thick. I usually go 35 to 40 minutes in the oven at 275. All right. I can speak about 44 Farms, right? So I go into the oven 275 for about 35 to 40 minutes. You take it out, let it sit, and at that time it's probably a medium rare, pretty good. So then you go, so you won't get your wife mad or anybody mad. You get your cast iron skillet hot, or you go out to the grill, all right? And all you do is cook it 2 minutes on each side, and you let it rest for about 3 or 4 minutes, and you have a perfect medium rare steak. So. Sear it after. Sear it after. Then sear.
Yes, sir.
A couple of questions. How old are your calves when you wean them? And how long do you wean them? I mean, here it says 30 days when the mom's milk dries up. Do you keep them off the cow for 30 days? And they're grass-fed beef, but then after you wean them, do you kick them back into production in your own place, or you send them to a feedlot? But where you said something about feeding them grain, you take them off the grass-fed and feed them grain. And then the last question is, on your brand, it's 44 on here, but it's a backwards 44 on the cow. Why is it backward?
Because somebody put up the picture backward.
Bad picture?
Yeah. Those are really good questions. Yeah, we wean at about 6 months, and then we get them out. So there's 2 lines of business. So the cattle that we have on our property, which we have about 2,000 head, those are all used for genetics purposes. So we feed those very differently than we do the ones that are sent out to be processed. So the cattle on our property are grass-fed. We keep them on their mama's milk as long as they can until they're weaned. Then we start supplementing with silage. And we grow our own silage on our place. We're pretty vertically integrated. We grow our own sorghum, we create our own silage, and we supplement with silage for the animals that are on our property that are used for genetics. For the animals that are used in processing, we actually have a buyback program. So we buy back calves from our customers. And those are the animals that are used in our beef product. So those calves are the ones that are sent out after they're weaned. They are sent out to, first they're backgrounded. In other words, they're given some time to learn how to eat and to eat grass, and then they're sent out to the feedlots, and they are fed grain before they're processed. Yes.
Okay, Orlando and Jose, thank you both for being here. I'm delighted to learn about 44 farms, and I think we all are. Leave it to me to ask a couple of controversial questions. So I'm just
See, he's a reporter. He's a newsman.
I'm just asking the question.
He's got to ask the tough questions.
Yeah, the tough questions. First of all, can you comment? There's a lot of discussion right now about genetic engineering and genetically engineered foods, frankenfoods, et cetera.
Right.
So how do you, when that conversation comes up, how do you distinguish what you do versus the genetic engineering that might come out of a laboratory? And my second question has to do with non-beef products that are being labeled as meat, i.e. it's a hamburger, but it's not really meat. So can you comment on those 2 topics?
Right. So the only genetic engineering we do is taking an egg from a certain female and the semen from a certain male because of the genetic characteristics that those 2 animals have to come out with a different or new characteristic, whether it be low birth weight or better ribeye size or those are better marbling. That's the only kind of engineering we do, is matching male and female to come out with a new product that we think our customers would be interested in. So we don't do anything kind of at the micro level or anything like that regarding genetics. So I can't speak to what they do in the chicken business or hog business or anything else, but this is our business. This is a very boutique operation, so we're not affected by anything else. Now, meat that's not real meat, we have a real problem with that because they are calling themselves meat when they are not meat. So we are hoping that, I don't know if it's going to take congressional legislation or something like that to ensure that that doesn't happen, but it shouldn't happen because we're fooling consumers or saying things that just are not true. Yeah. That's the last question. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all so much. That was lots of fun, and we really appreciate your generosity bringing us beef jerky. That's very generous. Thank you so much. My dad retired from being a financial advisor to be a full-time cattle rancher, and so I fully appreciate all the hard work that y'all do. And it was really nice to hear, especially nice to hear y'all's presentation. A book is being placed in your honor at McShan Elementary, and after the meeting, I'd like to get a picture with you in our red carpet banner.
Awesome. Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause. Next week's meeting is going to, we're going to have another great program. Our Holly Hollenbeck is the district membership director. She's going to tell us all about membership. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to her program. And now, if you'll please rise, Van Oliver is going to lead us in the four-way test.
I'm told I have to do a full presentation, so don't hold that against me. The four-way test is an ethical guide for Rotarians to use for their personal and professional relationships. The test has been translated into more than 100 languages, and Rotarians recite it at club meetings. So please recite with me. Of the things we think, say, or do, first is the truth, second is it fair to all concerned,
Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships. Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned. Have a great Friday.